There has been a controversy in Florida about an immigration bill. So we are trying to track down. There he's joining us, Speaker of the Florida House, Danny Perez, who's a longtime friend of the show and of mine because he's a member of the American Legislative Exchange Council. Danny, welcome back and congratulations. You're finally Speaker, Perez, right?
Finally, it's about time. I think the first time that we had a conversation, Hugh, I was like Speaker designate. That was
yeah. You were like an A-ball then. Then you went to AA, then AAA. Now you're the Speaker of the Florida House.
Exactly.
And congratulations. I'm glad that you're joining me. You're walking in the door, though, on the day where there's controversy exploding all around you. And I read on X, and I don't believe anything on X, what was in the immigration bill, and why do some people like it and some people don't like it that the Florida House just passed and the Florida legislature?
Hugh, here's the big picture. We all agree that we need to fix for the crisis that is illegal immigration, one of the greatest crises that we have in our country, if not the greatest we have today. How we get to solve for that is what the disagreement is. We filed a bill. The governor gave a proposal. They were different. We then changed our bill, and we added 12 new factors. And those 12 new factors added more conservative and stringent facets to fight illegal immigration. Those were done in conjunction with conversations between the legislature and the White House, and the President of the United States. And then we passed that bill. And in the House, every single Republican, and we're at a supermajority nowadays of 86, but every Republican that was in the chamber except one voted in favor of this bill. This is the most conservative bill that fights illegal immigration of any state in the country that's being discussed. However, the governor disagrees with it and has called it weak. I don't see the weakness. I disagree with it. We have the death penalty for illegal aliens that commit murder and rape children. We took away minimum maximums for illegal aliens that commit crimes and only gave them the maximums. I mean, this is a conservative bill. The problem that we're having is the governor wants to be deporter-in-chief, and the legislature wants the President of the United States, the leader of our party, and the leader of this country, the leader of the free world, quite frankly, to be deporter-in-chief himself. And that's where the disagreement comes from. But look, we're disagreeing, but we're not in a feud, and we're co-equal branches of government. And I'm sure sooner rather than later we will figure something out.
Now let's expand on that, because Governor DeSantis, a friend of the program, you're a friend of the program. I'm very surprised that you two aren't in agreement. What's the disagreement between him and the State House?
Well, he disagrees with our bill, and he just says it's weak. Why it's weak, I'm not sure. Part of it is he disagrees with the Commissioner of Agriculture being the chief immigration officer, and that is who we put as the chief immigration officer in our bill. It's one of the differences, and I can explain exactly why we did that.
Yeah, please do.
We wanted to make sure that it was an elected position. So we wanted to make there was a person that was accountable to the people, to the constituents. The governor wanted it to be someone that he appointed from within his administration that, quite frankly, is going to be a bureaucrat, someone that's been around for a long time, that's never going to be held accountable by the people. If the Commissioner of Agriculture were to do a poor job as chief immigration officer, they would get voted out, and they would not come back because the people would hold them accountable. Quite frankly, so would the president. We all know that. But in addition to that, the Commissioner of Agriculture is the only office in the cabinet that has multiple offices throughout the state with boots on the ground that is existing law enforcement that we can add to with the funds that we put into this bill, which is over $500 million to add law enforcement and fight illegal immigration. I believe in that process. The governor wanted to be, I don't know who, but he wanted to be able to appoint it from someone on the inside, some bureaucrat that would then give him all the power. It's going back to egos, and unfortunately, it's part of this, and it's the reality that we're living in. But that's one of the disagreements that we have. Now,
Speaker Perez, I want other states to study the Florida legislation. That's why the American Legislative Exchange Council is on this show so much and has sponsored me. I don't think this is a sponsored segment. I just wanted to talk to you about you being in the news. Have you and the governor talked?
No, we have not. Last time that we spoke in person was about a month and a half ago, and none of those issues had to do with illegal immigration. But you, the same way I do with you and anyone else, even people that I disagree with, even though you and I usually agree on things, if the governor were to call me, I would answer his call.
Now, what about the president? Did you talk to the president or any Tom Homan or Kristi Noem or any of his new team on immigration about the bill?
What I can say without going too far into it is the legislature has spoken with the White House.
All right. That's good. Now, there is a criticism online about which I do not know, but I'll air it and see what they say, that the legislature bowed the knee to, quote, big sugar, close quote. I don't know if that's true. I don't even know what big sugar is. I'm not a Floridian. What is that all about?
You're the first one to tell me that, and I have no idea what big sugar even has to do with illegal immigration.
Okay, good. It made no sense to me either, and so don't just dismiss it. You know, the trouble with
big sugar means, but I'm going to guess they're saying sugar companies, but it has nothing to do with sugar companies.
The trouble with online critics is I don't know what they don't know and what they do know. And you must be this is a big story all of a sudden, right? Because they got Republican on Republican controversy. That is catnip for legacy media. Are you being swamped with legacy media trying to get a feud going between you and Ron DeSantis?
Look, of course, the media wants to know what's going on, and that's their job. And I'm answering all of those calls. But I am being honest. I'm not making it personal, as you've noticed, and you'll notice online. There's a job that we have to do. We all agree that we want to get to the same place. We just disagree on how to get there. And that's not a bad thing, Hugh. I think people continue to ask, why the feud? It's not a feud. It's a disagreement. And disagreements are healthy in any democracy. It's just that's where we're at. We are co-equal branches of government. We disagree with how to get there. But again, if the governor ever reached out, I would answer that call in 2 seconds. That's something I've always had an open line of communication.
I am inclined to agree with you on the person who is elected ought to be the person who's in charge of the illegal alien problem, because then people can get their voices heard, and the commissioner of agriculture, whoever that might be, I don't know, in Florida, is going to be very aware. How big is the problem in Florida, Speaker Perez?
It's huge. I think that the main thing we have to think of is how do we disincentivize illegal immigrants from coming to Florida? And we're noticing even in the last couple of days, the federal government has been in Florida and has already found several vehicles, several locations that have illegal immigrants that have been committing crimes, and they've turned them over to ICE. The problem that we've had hasn't been that the state of Florida hasn't been able to encounter the illegal aliens and put them in jail. The problem is ICE never came to pick them up, because that was the administration we were living under when President Biden was in office. Fortunately, we have one of the, if not the greatest president in the history of the United States on 1600 Pennsylvania Ave, and now they're picking them up. Yeah. They're going to deport them, as they should. They entered this country illegally.
Now, Danny, that's only one slice of your pie. You get to be Speaker for 2 years. What's next on the Perez agenda that you hope to bring the party along with you to do?
I told you, Hugh, I'm going to join your show, and we're going to bring it to Miami. I'm going to teach you how to make Cuban coffee, and we're going to ride off into the sunset.
You'll never get me there until the Browns have won a Super Bowl. So that's when I go to Miami to retire, is after the Browns win the Super Bowl, Danny Perez. But I'm serious. You've been waiting for a long time for this job. You got a big bill on immigration across the line. We'll see whether or not it becomes the perfect bill. The good must not be the enemy of the perfect. What else do you want to get done? I know school vouchers are down there, but are you going to expand that program?
Yeah, no, where we're at right now is I want to make sure that our budget is lean. I'm concerned with some of the fat that we've had in our budget. We have a constitutional requirement to pass a balanced budget, but since I've been in the legislature, which is 7 years, we've increased our budget significantly. Of course, revenues have gone up. People have moved to our state, but just because revenues are going up doesn't mean increase of spending also has to partner it. So do we have too much fat in our budget? Are our agencies using taxpayer dollars properly? Is everyone that has access to taxpayer dollars within government using it properly? That's our job. Where's the fat, and are we holding them accountable? That's the conversation that we're going to have this session. I want to get to it, but we got to solve for illegal immigration, which is what's been before us this week.
Next time you're on with me, Danny Perez, I want to talk about the insurance crisis that Florida mostly solved for hurricanes, and California now has to solve and has not even begun to solve for fires. And I mean, it's big out here. It was big in Florida. Am I right? You've mostly solved that? We got 30 seconds.
Yeah, I believe we've solved that. I mean, but look, nothing's perfect. We still have a lot of other issues to solve for you. And I think the most important part is that the Floridians understand that Their elected officials are working hard at it, and we're proud of the work proudly produced thus far. It's why people are moving to the state of Florida. It's more of a just staying consistent and making sure we get government out of people's lives.
Speaker Danny Perez of Florida, great to speak with you. Congratulations on becoming Speaker. Good luck on getting together with the governor, and we will talk again soon. I'll be right back, America. Abe Greenwald of Commentary is next.